lights come on. Installation, we should know what we're doing. You've had an opportunity to practice it. You have a foundation, and so see who can go make plays when the lights come on in the stadium, who's ready for game day a couple weeks from now.
You talked last week after the first scrimmage, you weren't pleased with the quarterbacks. How did you see them bounce back this week, or what was kind of the focus there?
Well, they're coming along. They're still coming along right now. They gotta process things quicker, just decision making, which comes with reps and reps and reps and reps and reps. So hopefully they'll be better tomorrow night.
What was the process like in adding Wyatt to the roster? How did you reach out to him? Did he reach out to you? What was that like?
I guess I heard they said someone came to me. I think Brad came and said, "Hey, this kid's we had a whole bunch of guys walk onto the team now first day of school." So there was a kid he'd like to walk on once to get into coaching. And I said, "Well, it'd be a great opportunity for him. If you want to learn how to coach, there's probably be a football coach. There's no better place to be than in this building."
How does that ease the demands on the quarterbacks too, with him available for scout?
I think
team?
there's 3 or 4 more of them now too, so it'll help.
Talk about your young kids, obviously having been adjusted going to class now and practice this week.
Well, I think it is an adjustment that you get used to because it's a transition. For the guys, transitioning into more on their plate. The great thing about training camp, it's all ball all the time. Now balancing the time between class and tutoring and studying and football while you continue to develop is always an adjustment, especially for younger players, and learning how to handle everything. So, but I haven't seen many issues. I think guys have handled the transition pretty well.
You mentioned a few weeks ago that number changing the lowest on your list. What about giving guys scholarships? Where does that rank, like Josiah and Keelan?
Yeah, that's a huge deal. If you have the opportunity to give guys scholarships, you have things open. The scholarships open, and there are 2 guys that have worked their tail off for the program. Been in the program going into year 4. Take care of their business in the classroom. Take care of their business every day at practice. The one never has either of them ever been in my office asking, "Hey, boy, do I get a scholarship?" They just showed up and worked every day. And I think if you show up and you work every single day, good things are going to happen to you in life, and that's what we try to teach all the guys within our program, and it's an example of it happening firsthand. When
you look at a guy like Josiah, who homeschooled, never played organized football, what was your reaction when he first, came on the field and really didn't know anything?
Well, I hope he'd be like, his brother John played for me. I remember one day in the summer, John came up to me and said, "Coach, I'm really worried about my spot because I'm not going to make summer workouts." I said, "That's no problem. I know you're a walk-on, you get a job, something." He's like, "Well, I got to go to Ranger school." I said, "I trust you'll still be in good shape when you get back there from camp." So, I figured we were getting another. I was hoping we'd get one just like him, and Josiah has worked, done everything the right way that you'd want within the program of maybe not the best football knowledge, but someone's going to come out and give you everything he has every day.
Is there any similar traits between those 2 brothers that you've seen?
Just that. They're foxhole guys. They're guys, you got to get in a foxhole. That's who you want with you because, they're 100% committed to doing the best they can every day at whatever it is they're doing.
Our view of Fred Ross is kind of seeing the plays he makes in games, but from your view, seeing him in practice and what he does in the offseason, what is it that makes him good?
Well, I think, he's a worker, and I know everybody, he's got a great amount of talent. But I think he's a great guy for people to look up to, and I think he's going to be very, very successful throughout his career beyond Mississippi State because of his work ethic. He's a guy that just is not, "Hey, show up. I know my position. Throw me the ball. I'll go make a play." He knows every one of the receiver positions. He's constantly working on his technique and fundamentals. Constantly working on catching the football, trying to get better every single day. And when you're, what's great when you have young players that are looking there and say, "Well, he's the most talented guy in the group, but he's also the hardest worker in the group." I think that that sets a great example for the future of the program.
Along those same lines, guys like Fred and Donald and even Dedrick and Gabe Miles that know the inside-outside receivers position so well, how much does that kind of translate with the quarterbacks? Obviously, still learning and being inexperienced. How much do they rely on those guys?
Well, I think it helps. One, it helps with our depth right now, especially when you get through camp. We get guys kind of banged up and nicked up and not going full speed. You got to be able to move some guys from spot to spot around. So it just helps having a quality player there and get used to throwing to certain guys out there on the field.
Is the install section of it done yet, or might there still be some more after this scrimmage is done?
Oh, I mean, we'll have a gadget or two here or there, I mean, you still got to install a lot of special situations, and not offense, defense, kicking game, like some just unique situations that'll happen in the course of the game. But, I mean, the installation of the offense and defense is done.
Is Dante Jones back with the team now that things
Mhm.
come back?
Oh, yeah.
Is he out there being able to
No,
practice?
he's still limited with the surgery.
Coach Sermon mentioned yesterday, camp is still kind of ongoing. At what point does the camp portion end and the game prep begin?
Tomorrow night, well, really today. Today was our last camp practice for the players. Tomorrow night we'll have a scrimmage. I'll watch film on Saturday. They're off Sunday. Come back Monday, and then we'll transition. Monday's that kind of that transition week, where it's not quite in season and it's not quite camp. It's kind of like a bye week or a bowl prep, or I mean, some of those kind of those transition weeks that you have where you're going to get some extra work done. You're going to make sure everything's cleaned up that you need, and even spend some time. Everybody's going to go to scout teams. We'll have some scout teams going next week, just so guys learn how to go to the scout team, and we get adjusted to what the offense and the defense playing against scout teams, what it's going to look like, how we get ourselves prepared. So we're, we hit the field Monday of game week. We're moving.
How do you balance the game plan when you have a competition at quarterback compared to last year where you knew who the guy was going to be?
I mean, we'll figure. We're not really into game planning for another 10 days, so I think hopefully we'll have a plan of what it's going to be, and but I'd imagine we'll play more than one quarterback in the first game, but
Right.
that's no different than we did last year.
Right.
So, I just, but for us just to get it organized, see who after tomorrow night's scrimmage, a couple more days next week, we'll hopefully have that sorted out by game week of who's going to be the starter.
We've asked you a lot about quarterbacks during camp, but running backs, you have a lot of talented guys out there too and things. How's that kind of shook out so far? I know you got Shumpert. How's he bounced back from the end of last year when he kind of got
Good. They move. Each back's different. The backs bring a little something different to the table every single day. So, and how they run the ball and their size and speed and their skill sets are different. So, I see us playing a bunch of them and trying to utilize the talents of each back. But also just within the base offense, they all run plays a little differently. I mean, they're going to hit it with different speeds and different power. So I think it's a good change-up for us.
What challenges come from the tight end position, having Justin Johnson as the only guy who's really played?
Yeah, I mean, you look and, one of the reasons that we are so young this year, that's another one of those spots where, you play him within the program for Gus Wally to be the starter this year. And, I mean, unfortunately, injuries ended his career short. And so, it's not just the next guy, but there's also a trickle-down effect that, now your guy that's supposed to be the backup's the starter. The guy that's the backup was supposed to be kind of the third-string guy, taking some special teams, learning how to play. And it just trickles down, which is always tough. So those guys have to, get accelerated and get ready to get on the field.
Scott Talich was saying those guys, they think they're giving 100%, but it's really not there. How do you draw that extra 20, 30% or whatever?
Well, they just got to learn when you're a young guy. You just watch it on film. I think we say it all the time. You go watch film and you ask a guy, and they thought they were running as fast as they could, and they watch the film and they're like, boy, that's not as fast as I can run. And it's just learning how to play at maximum effort. A lot of these guys didn't have to. They're the best player on their high school team, so they didn't have to maximum strain every single snap to be successful.
Did you get to talk to Dak after his performance the other night, or?
Yeah, I texted him. Said great job. I texted him before the game. He texted me before the game and hit him back and said great job. Get back to work. I wasn't surprised by his performance at all. I really wasn't. But he's got to get back to work and he's got to get better. And made some great throws, but it's going to get harder. He's going to get different looks and different things are going to happen. And you got to get back to work, get ready to be better.
When you look, this is kind of a way back question, but when you watch the draft or saw the draft play out and after, when you see him drop as many, he did, I think 6 quarterbacks went ahead of him. Knowing him the way you do, what was kind of going through your mind that if these teams know who they're getting or what's going on?
I don't know because I'm not in their rooms. I haven't evaluated. I don't know anything about the other quarterbacks. When I got players get drafted, I just hope they go to a good situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They go somewhere where they're going to be coached, where they're going to fit in with the style of the team, and they're going to fit in with the style of the coaching of the team. And I think that you look at, I think that situation was fantastic. I mean, you got a very, very intelligent head coach that was a quarterback. You got Scott Linehan's a great offensive coordinator for him. They got a quarterback coach that's played a long time in the NFL. They got a veteran quarterback that he can go, that Dak's going to really try to, absorb everything he can from him. I think, so I think I was happy for him for that situation, because I think that's great for his development and his long-term future.